The Builders of Indian Heritage, Guru Nanak. Kalu, Kalu, your cows have eaten up my crop altogether. Your good for nothing son is to be seen nowhere, complained a farmer to his neighbor. Kalu was angry. He ran into the field at once. The cows were there all right. But where was his cowherd son? Nanak, Nanak, where are you? He shouted. A few friends joined him in his search for the boy. Before long, the boy was discovered under a tree, lost in meditation. What are you doing, you fool? Closing your eyes while the cows are destroying our neighbor's crop? Demanded the father, giving a shake to the boy. Nanak opened his eyes. There was no shock or anger in them. However, he smiled apologetically. There was something charming about him which would not allow the father to be any more rude towards him. Kalu turned to the farmer and said, Brother, I am sorry for my son's conduct. I will pay the price of the crop you have lost to my cows. Let us go and see the extent of your loss. They requested 2 or 3 respectable villagers to accompany them to evaluate the farmer's loss. But lo and behold, on reaching the cornfield, they were amazed to find the entire crop standing intact. So goes the legend. Everybody in Talwandi, now known as Nankana Sahib, where Nanak was born in 1469, knew that he was a boy with very unusual interests. He would often escape into a nearby forest in search of holy men. If he found them discussing religion or philosophy, he would sit down listening to them, in the process forgetting the need of food or sleep. Kalu felt anxious about his son. He wanted to see the boy flourish as a prosperous man. To catch him in the worldly net, he got Nanak married when the boy was only 14. Nanak lived a family life for some years, but he was never given to it entirely. His mind roamed about in spheres high and sublime. He spent much of his time in meditation and composing and singing sweet lyrics of profound spiritual value. Like Kabir, he looked at man as a human being, a child of God, and not as either Hindu or Muslim. He did not give any value to the practice of religious rituals. As a Kshatriya youth, he was required to wear the sacred thread, but he declined to put it on. When his elders took him to task for his violating the tradition, he said that he would wear only the thread which would not be soiled, would not snap or burnt, and would accompany him to the other world after his death. When he asked to such a thread could ever be found, he explained, if compassion be the cotton, contentment the thread, the self-control the knot, and truth the twist, that would be the thread which the soul could wear. Such a thread could not be soiled, could not snap or be burnt. Such a thread was sure to go with one on the world beyond. Nanak soon came to be looked upon as a guru. People from both Hindu and Muslim communities turned his disciples. His teaching was simple, yet it had the force of his conviction. He inspired his disciples to constantly meditate on God and pray for His mercy. There is no limit to God's mercy, nor is there any limit to His power of granting gifts, he taught. One instance will suffice to tell us the influence Nanak exercised on the people who came in contact with him. One evening, while traveling through an unfamiliar area, he was requested by a fellow named Sajjan to spend the night as his guest. This fellow had built for himself a reputation as a charitable man. He had built a temple as well as a mosque to satisfy both the Hindu and the Muslim pilgrims. He offered his hospitality to such travelers who looked wealthy. At night, while the guest was asleep, he killed him and appropriated whatever wealth the victim was carrying. Sajjan thought that Nanak must be a wealthy traveler. After dinner, Nanak began to sing. Sajjan and his lieutenants sat down before him with a show of devotion. Nanak sang, "The cranes sit beside the water, looking like devotees in meditation, but their hungry eyes are set on the fish. Those who show themselves as our friends are indeed not so. O Nanak, of no avail in his human cleverness and feigned goodness, God's love alone can save us." Sajjan had no doubt left in his mind that Nanak had been able to find out his evil motive. Filled with shame and a deep sense of repentance, he at once fell at Nanak's feet and confessed to his sins. The kind Guru accepted him as a disciple. Out of Nanak's teaching grew Sikhism, a religion which was meant for showing man a straight path to honest living and simple faith. When he knew that his end was nearing, he appointed his faithful disciple Lehna to succeed him as the leader of the new faith. His two sons protested, but the Guru remained firm in his decision, which was based on a true assessment of his disciples. Guru Nanak passed away in 1539, leaving behind him a faith which was to grow stronger and wider through many trials and tribulations. Support us by subscribing our channel.